Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, Essential Branding for Entrepreneurs. My name is Nick Fry. I'm the Manager of Business Development with Tourism Nova Scotia, and thank you for joining us. This webinar is a collaboration between Digital Nova Scotia and Tourism Nova Scotia. For those of you not familiar, Tourism Nova Scotia is a division of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage. We work with communities and industry to attract visitors to the province and increase tourism revenues through experience and sector development, business coaching, marketing, and visitor servicing. Similarly, Digital Nova Scotia is the industry association for Nova Scotia's $2.5 billion ICT and digital technology sector, representing over 230 members, including startups, small, medium enterprises, multinational corporations, government, post-secondary institutions, and more. Thank you for joining us. This webinar today will be recorded, so if you want to share it with a friend, come back and check something out, it will be available to you. And you'll also receive an email after the fact with the presentation, as well as any relevant links we talk about. It could be articles, different pieces of software. And we really encourage you to ask questions throughout, so put your questions on the bottom of the Q&A. And really excited that you are here to join us today. This is brought to you, of course, through Digiport. Digiport is a partnership with Tourism and Digital Nova Scotia, and it offers one-stop shopping for interactive services and educational opportunities to help tourism develop digital marketing skills, access professional support to improve their online presence, and really bridge that digital gap that we know is so important. I know we have a lot of people on the webinar today. We've received some really excellent questions ahead, so we'll make sure those are all addressed. Closed captioning is enabled. So if you want to change that, just go to your settings and the live transcription button is there. So really excited to have Amy Harrison here with us today with Pixels and Pieces. Amy's a graphic designer with 20 years experience working with small businesses in Halifax. Amy has a BA in English and a master's in science and publishing. And Amy's goal is really to empower small businesses by offering full graphic design services, Canva training, website design, and marketing advice. And we know that is critical in today's marketplace. Amy's passionate about helping small businesses level up their branding and marketing through effective communication and design. And when I was talking to Amy about branding, she said that most businesses really underestimate what it takes to get a brand off the ground. So really excited to have Amy here today. I would like to invite Amy to share her screen, take over for me, and really excited to have you here today. And once again, I really encourage some strong questions, dialogue. These webinars are the most successful and strong when we have really great participation. So thanks so much, and look forward to your presentation, Amy.
Thanks so much for that very warm welcome, Nick. Hi, everybody. It's Amy Harrison here from Pixels and Pieces Design. I just want to locate the chat again. Zoom likes to move things around when you share your screen. Alrighty, so hopefully everyone can see my screen there. Please let me know in the chat if you can't. And welcome. So before we dive into the workshop, I know Nick just gave a great introduction, but I always like to start off with a little levity. So first, the washrooms are located in the safety of your own home, perhaps upstairs or kind of just down the hall. This is a safe space, so I don't believe in stupid questions. The only stupid question I believe in is the one that's not asked. So please feel free to ask away in the chat. I may finish up what I'm saying on a particular slide, but I'm going to try to answer questions as we go along. Nick mentioned this is going to be recorded, and I do have one link that I'm just going to put into the chat because I'm going to reference this quite a bit. So I have an easy reference branding guide that is free to download. You just put in your email and off you go. And it's going to help you record a lot of the decisions you need to make and be consistent over time. As Nick mentioned, hi, this is me. I've been a graphic designer for 20 years. I have a master's of publishing that I got from New York in 2008. That sounds like a long time ago. I'm a project manager as well as a graphic designer. I've worked with small businesses, large academic institutions, large healthcare institutions, and kind of everybody in between. I love dogs and traveling. I like to think that I'm a runner. I like to ski. I like making and crafting stuff. I recently bought a laser engraver and, like to do that as a hobby. So here's what we're going to cover today. I hope that you're going to come out with a better understanding of branding and all that it entails. So I'm going to talk about what branding is. There's a couple of basic definitions and ways that you can look at it. I'm also going to tell you what the most basic branding decisions you need to make are, how to apply those decisions over time, and then what kind of branding opportunities you can use to show people your business. And then at the very end, I have a couple of slides about some tools and kind of how to evaluate people that can help you. As Nick mentioned, most people really underestimate the time, effort, and money it is required to start and grow your brand, but it really is essential for your company. When you're planning your business, you have to plan time and money toward this effort, or all of your marketing efforts, they might be in vain. So let's jump right in. So branding is the entire set of experiences and expectations that you have of an organization. So it's all the perceptions that you own. It's everything and anything that is said about your company. But it's also your opportunity. It's your opportunity to communicate not only your products and services, but your value system to the world. If we think about a large corporation like Apple, they started out as a company determined to make technology available to everybody, not just people in like the business world. Local Dartmouth company, Made with Local, they make their granola bars using labor from a social enterprise. You can look them up on Instagram. They're great. The size of the company really doesn't matter. It's just an amplification of their values. So branding is, the communication of those values. If you think, oh, well, I don't know, I'm too small to have a brand, this is not true. So you may not have millions of dollars toward an international brand like McDonald's, but you have the same challenges that all the companies in the world have. You have to communicate. So you have to tell your potential customers about your products and services. You have peers and industry partners that you collaborate with, compete with, banks and lenders, other groups you want to impress. So all of your potential customers start off as strangers as part of the general public. So what big brands do is they sink millions of dollars into media costs like TV ad spots and big billboards and all this stuff and all these geographical locations. They do tons of research and testing different reactions to different types of ads, basically trying to come out on top of their competition, but it's still the same thing. They're just tasked with communication. So what you want to do is put your best foot forward. You want everyone to see how great your tourism business is, and how to do that. You need to communicate, which is branding. Really, branding, it's central to your business. So I know that there's a lot in this graphic, and I'm gonna stick on this slide for a while. As small business owners, you are the stewards of the relationship marketing cycle. So this cycle that's in the middle of this bullseye, know, like, trust, buy, refer, that goes around. Some people call it funnel, some people call it flywheel. It's all the same concept. As you're figuring out who your exact target audience is, where you're going to have to communicate with them, and what you're going to say, you need to figure out what you're going to look like when you're doing that. So converting strangers to customers really starts with people getting to know you. And first impressions are important. So what you look like is important. We'll kind of revisit this cycle later, and I'm going to talk about how to specifically flex your brand at each point. But I just want to stick here again just for a little bit. Today, we're going to cover the light blue circle where it says how you look, and then fonts, colors, shape, styles. We're going to talk about those things. I could talk for another hour about messaging and channels, etc. So branding is also an umbrella. So your brand's logo can be like the center pole of that umbrella. It's the visual identity, and it's made up of a few different things. So visual cues such as shapes, symbols, numbers, words, all the things you see, hear, and feel about a company is connected it should be connected in some way under this umbrella. It could be that the same colors from your logo or seen on a brochure or on your website. It could be that the same tagline that's part of your logo is on your business card or somewhere else. You know, you could see a visual cue and feel a certain way. So most of us, you know, see the golden arches and we feel hungry. You know, none of these thoughts and feelings are by accident. They're heavily orchestrated. So a lot of time, money, effort goes into branding and marketing. And basically those who don't have a solid brand with a marketing strategy, they get lost among their competitors and other life noise. So having a solid brand establishes you in your industry. It gives you credibility. It puts you in control about how others are perceiving you. So your brand sparks a connection between your business and your potential customers. The details of your brand, how you differentiate from competitors, it's going to help you establish your very specific customer base, and having a solid brand is going to keep those customers engaged. So how do you do that? So no matter if you are a new business or an established one, there are 4 basic essential parts of your brand to define: color, font, shape, and style. So this image on the screen is what you get when you go to the link that I put in the chat there, that will be also distributed later. And this is where you're going to record these decisions. So what colors are you going to use? What fonts are you going to use? What shapes or icons? You may have parts of this decided and done. You may have never thought about this before. You might just throw stuff up on a screen and you're just kind of trying your best. The point here is to pull everything together. So make these decisions, note them in one place like this sheet. It's really essential to building your brand. So we'll talk about color and font specifically today. Shape and style I cover more in my Canva classes. So the 2 Canva classes that were earlier this month. So until you've decided what these things are, color, font, shape, and style, it's really hard to move forward with things like a logo or a business card or a website, because you're gonna run into problems with consistency. So you may feel confident in your abilities at this point and what you have going on. Or you might say, yeah, nope, no way, Amy, I have no idea what I'm doing. I need help from somebody. So, but by filling out this page and doing your best and to try and make some of these decisions right on, you know, you're going to save time and effort down the road, which could translate into money. If you provide a designer with this place to start, you're going to be happier and more confident with the results in the long run. I'm going to talk a little bit later about how you go about hiring someone and how to evaluate them before you hire them. But first, let's talk about some of these decisions. So one of the first decisions you might want to make, I mean, there's no right order to do them in, but when you're making these decisions, you're thinking a lot about feelings. So choosing a color is more than like, okay, green looks nice. I like blue. Okay, cool. Colors represent feelings. So all colors also have numerical values. So depending on the application, you'll need a different set of values for the color that you want. So if you see something on a screen, like this PowerPoint presentation, you would use the RGB value, and you can put in a custom color and put those numerical values in, and it will give you the exact color. RGB, there's 3 digits that go along with each R, G, and B, and it has to do with how pixels are arranged on a screen. If you want to make something for view on the internet or use Google Slides or Canva, you'd use the hex or the hashtag value. It consists of 6 characters, which can be numbers or letters. If you want to print something, you'll need the CMYK value. So CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. Key just means black. It consists of 3 digits that go with each letter, up to 100. So it's actually representative of the percentage of ink on the paper that you need to blend together to make the color that you want. Ideally, when you build your brand, you'll have all of these values for all of your colors on hand. You just write them down on your worksheet. So whenever any branding opportunity comes up for you, you're ready. You know, you can hand that sheet off to a printer, you can give it to a designer, you can give it to whoever is helping you with, if you're making swag, you can say, yeah, here's my colors. And you'll find it really easy. Again, if anyone has any questions about all this stuff, you know, feel free to just jump in the chat. So you're thinking about colors and feelings and you're like, okay, I think I've got that sorted out. Then you're moving on to fonts. So choosing a font is really, really tricky. Oh, okay. I'm just going to answer that question before I move on to fonts because it's a very common question. So can you find the color values on the internet? And I'm going to go back to this slide. The short answer is yes, with a huge hesitation. So if you look at something on a screen versus looking at something printed on a piece of paper, they can be drastically different. And it really does take some judgment to figure out if you have consistent values. Like, I don't think there's really a perfect conversion where I say, okay, you know, this orange on the screen is my orange from my brand color. So FC4CO2 is my hex value there. You can see in the center of the screen. If I put that in, I may not get, you know, the perfect conversion on paper. And that's really where the main challenge is, because you can see something, it's perfectly great on the screen and you print it out and it looks like crap. So this below the color block on the screen, you'll see the word Pantone and 1655. So Pantone is a set of printer inks that are very commonly used among printers. So it takes some judgment to figure out what the correct printed color is versus the correct screen color is, and a single like rote by rote conversion might not necessarily cut it depending on what your colors are. So you know, you might want to just get the help of a graphic designer to help you to figure out those are, because sometimes it requires some judgment depending on the color. Okay, so choosing fonts, really tricky. There are literally millions or billions of fonts out there. Some are free, some are licensed. When making this decision, really you want to take into the account the feelings again you want to evoke with your text. So you'll see same words here, you'll always be mine, two very different meanings with two very different fonts. The main kind of line in the sand between types of fonts are serif fonts, so they're the ones with the little feet, and sans serif, it just literally means without the little feet. Serif fonts evoke a formality, where sans serifs are more modern and a bit looser. When you're trying to figure out your fonts, you're looking for three. So they can be the same font in three different sizes, or they can be two different fonts combinations. You know, you'll have to figure it out what you want it to look like. You're looking for a headline font, so you use that in your logo pretty sparingly. For your most important words when you create things, a subhead font, so it's smaller, could be the same font, but it, you know, should be maybe something a bit different, but still maybe kind of bold, and then a regular font for everything else. When you're thinking about creating things, and really you're making these decisions now with thought and care, so that when you go to create things, it's super easy. You're really thinking about text hierarchy, and I've talked about this in Canva before, so my Canva class before, sorry. You want something that's super readable, that can work in multiple colors, things like that. You're going to think about how you're going to use this. So is it going to show up on your business card if it's tiny? What about a social media post? What about a t-shirt? What about a sign? You know, where will you be accessing it? So if you're creating lots of social posts in Canva, you might want to start there on your search for fonts to make sure that it's there. You can get Canva Pro and upload fonts, but it starts to become really tricky. Also, like if you want to use it in PowerPoint or Word or other things like that, if someone else doesn't have that, you'll have to give them PDFs all the time. It really depends on how you work. So Google fonts are a great choice because they show up well on websites. They're free, you can download them, and they're all in Canva. So that's a good place to start. Anybody have any questions about fonts? Okay. So
somebody had asked, sorry, Amy, somebody had asked, can you find the color values on the internet?
Yep, I had just answered that.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I answered that a bit earlier. Short answer, yes, but longer answer, it's complicated. It can require some judgment. So I spoke about the brand umbrella before, the center point of that umbrella being your logo. So let's look at, you know, how a logo breaks down. So a logo is the product of all the decisions you're making in terms of font, color, shape, and style. It communicates not only your company name, but you know what you're all about. Logos are composed in a physical shape. So all logos are really 4 shapes. So they're either squares, rectangles, circles, or triangles. There's white space for sure, but they really fall into those 3 to 4 basic shapes. You'll see on the branding guide that I am providing, those 3 basic shapes are at the bottom. So you can work with that with your brand. A logo has 1 to 2 specific fonts and 3 to 4 colors, which can be organized, in a palette. So the logo is going to convey the feelings. You know, if we look at this particular logo, so this is a client of mine, she, you know, has Inspire Conversation is her company. So, you know, she helps people, you know, learn how to speak on the phone and the internet. And, you know, she has a little speech bubble there that she could pull out and use in different places. There's a different, here's another one of my clients. So she has a circle shape here, design future. She does career education for youth. So very different kinds of design. And then I have another one of my clients here where we have the square shape, you know, different fonts, different colors here, completely different feelings. I'll put this on the screen quickly. I know it's not the most safe for work. However, here's some failed logos. Sometimes figuring this out is really important. Spacing is really important. Getting a specific relevant message across is really important. Okay, so with many decisions comes a responsibility. So this responsibility is the key that's going to help you convert strangers to customers. And the key is consistency. So consistency means that you stick to the same decisions that you've made for fonts, colors, shapes, and styles, and you use only those throughout all of your communications. Social media, website, business cards, t-shirts, signage, banners, it's all the same. Only use the colors you've decided, only use the fonts you've decided, use the same shape that's in your logo, and commit to one style. So they're all variations on the same theme. Everything is under your umbrella. So at this point, you really can't change your mind. It's really important to complete the previous steps really carefully. So to convert a stranger into a customer, there's research that shows it takes between 5 to 12 interactions or touch points. If you have interactions that aren't consistent with your brand, those interactions could confuse your customer or get lost in the noise, and they don't count toward 5 to 12. Your counter just starts over at 1 each time. So best case scenario is that the public sees you several times. So they see an ad for your B&B on Facebook. They ask a friend, the friend remembers the name, and they tell them, you know, they get a hold of a business card somewhere, and it's the same colors, fonts, etc. And in their mind, subconsciously, they are associating your unique combination of color, font, shape, style to your business. Once they see that unique combination and they make that connection 5 to 12 times, they might become a customer. So worst case scenario is like a person sees an ad for your business on Monday. Let's say they see your Facebook ad, and let's say we're going to use my brand colors, but there's a Facebook ad that has red background, circles, and some font there. And then on Wednesday, they walk by and they see a billboard that's like green and purple, same name, like Pixels and Pieces would be there. And then Friday, they're like, oh, what was the name of that designer? It's lost. They can't remember anything about you. They get turned off, they move on. That's kind of the worst situation. So I know that sounds like kind of an extreme example, but really inconsistency is the biggest mistake that people make, especially on social media. To avoid this situation, write down all of your brand decisions on your brand guide, pass it along to anybody who helps with your business. If you have hired a virtual assistant, if you have family members working on the business or students, give them this guide. Then you'll really gain the confidence that if you want to create new social posts or t-shirts or product labels or anything, you know where to start. So once you know all of these things, your color, your shape, your font, your style, you're ready to flex your brand. So you can easily show people your business with confidence, with the confidence that when they see your unique combination of color, font, shape, style, they're going to recognize you and start the journey from stranger to customer. So we're revisiting this relationship marketing flywheel again. So there are several ways to be consistent with your brand, multiple opportunities to show people your business. If you run a bed and breakfast and you want to have t-shirts on, or you want to leave a little business card in the room, or even like if you have little soaps that you want to put a label on, it should all be under the same brand umbrella. At each one of these points, know, like, trust, buy, and refer, each one of those, there's multiple opportunities for you to flex your brand. And you'll need to develop things at each part. So, when people get to know you, they might come across your website. They might come across your social media. Trust, if you have a website, that gives you a huge amount of credibility that you exist. Invoices that you send to people, emails that you send to people, whether it's an email newsletter or whether it's a thank you for booking email, all of those can be, you should be under your brand umbrella. It's opportunities to flex your brand. You're going to need multiple versions of your logo. So a full color version, an all white version, a black version, like versions with transparent backgrounds. So you really can adapt to whatever opportunities you want to take advantage of. Okay, I just see a question there in the chat. Is there a way to figure out the type of font after it was created without knowing which font was used? Yeah, if you Google Font Finder, you can, there's lots of websites. There's a handful of websites that you just upload an image to, and it will try and give you the best match. If you're in this position where you've already created things and you want to try and be consistent, just do your best and just make a decision and then stick with that decision over time.
Amy,
Okay.
we did have a question, and if you already addressed it, I do apologize. Who would you recommend if someone already has like a sketch of their own logo, but they need someone to like refine it into kind of what you've been speaking about already?
Yeah, so that's what a graphic designer does. I'm going to address this in the next few slides.
Well, that's just perfect.
Yeah. So There are many tools available. The most helpful, accessible, versatile tool right now is Canva. So Canva is freemium. It's a freemium graphic design software, which means there's a free version and a premium version. So if you pay, you get the premium version. The pro version's like about $20 a month. It's not a bad investment. Canva has useful templates for social media. It does even have some logo templates. For proposals, postcards, labels, all sorts of things. There's articles, videos. It's a really good site. You can also upload many of your brand details into a brand kit there. So if you figure out what your colors are, you can like put them in. So I teach Canva classes through local organizations like Digiport, Digital Nova Scotia, Center for Women in Business, and SEED. I taught Canva classes through Digiport earlier this month. So just keep checking back with these kind of organizations to see when the next one are if you're interested. I am trying to do some Canva video classes, trying to put that together for this year. So my best advice is to go through everything and try and make all these decisions, but then enlist the help of a graphic designer. So the process is really too important not to invest in it properly. And if you do it right, you'll have a large upfront cost, but then it'll dramatically decrease because you'll have everything you need to do things yourself or to enlist, family members, students, etc. So you are the expert of your company. You know how you want people to feel about it. You know what you want it to look like. Just like you're the expert, like every inch of your B&B. Graphic designers we're experts with our skills. So we can help you express your thoughts and feelings into clear, usable brand. So we have experience with many different opportunities, and we can liaise with different partners like printers or swag producers, and we know what they need to be successful. So we're versed in current software and we can do things pretty quickly and easily. We have a lot of industry knowledge that gives us the edge about what looks good, and we can tell you where you can improve. So when you hire a graphic designer, you want to find their portfolio. So if you have sketches and things like that, and you're like, okay, I just really need someone to bring this to life, this is when you would hire a graphic designer. Most graphic designers have websites, so you can see examples of their previous work, you can see testimonials, etc. Every designer kind of has a unique style. If you like theirs, great. If you don't, just keep looking. There's lots out there. When you're updating your business plan for the year, put some money into a budget for this. Like I said, there will be a larger upfront cost to create assets, so such as your logo in different versions, and maybe icons and things like that. But then once you have all that, really, like you won't need the graphic designer again, unless you want to keep working with them. So you can use those assets on your own in Canva. Like you can upload stuff in Canva. A bit of buyer beware. If you pay $5 for your logo, it's going to look like it costs $5. The 99 designs, the Upwork, the Fiverr, they can be great, but they can be limiting. So get in touch with a potential designer, see if you like their communication style. So are you calling them or emailing them back and forth? How is it working? It's really about having a good feeling about the person who's doing this really important work for you. So when you're trying to figure out how to get someone to help you, ask them what's included in their work package. So you should be getting a folder of logos, like I mentioned before, a full color version, a black version, a white version, low res, high res, transparent background, a vector file. And I can tell you more about what that is in a bit. You should be getting all of these things. Like this is what you're paying for. You should be getting a brand guideline sheet, much like the one that is part of that link. So even if it's just one sheet with your color values and what fonts they use, they should be giving that to you. And you should have exclusive ownership over what you've paid for. So make sure you sign a contract that outlines exactly what you're getting, when you're getting it, and what your role is in the process. With me, like I take my clients through an intake process. So They answer questions about the feelings that they want people to feel when they come across their company. You know, if you have a B&B and you know, you want people to be super relaxed when they come, and that's why you want them to come, you know, that's going to influence the colors and the fonts. If you own a campground, you might be like, yeah, this is a big family place. We have tons of fun here. There's lots of stuff going on all summer. You know, that's a different direction. There's no right or wrong, but it's basically about attracting your potential customers. And you do that through choices of color, font, shape, and style. So again, I offer these kind of services. I can do branding consultations, full service branding packages. I teach Canva classes, and I can offer some operations support to you as well. In Digiport, if you sign up for Digiport, you can book one-on-one consultations with me, as well as just through my website. So the key takeaways for today are that you really need to set aside time and money to develop the ways you're going to communicate with people, peers, and partners. So take your time to make these key decisions and record them on your brand guide. And this, you know, this exercise, it's not just for new businesses. If you've been in business for 10 years and you feel lost and you're not confident in how people are perceiving you, this exercise is for you. This is what you need to do. You know, if you're not confident, you can enlist the help of a graphic designer to help them. They will help you create your brand umbrella, and you know, then you'll be super confident in being able to communicate no matter how, like if through a business card, through a PowerPoint presentation, through a website, however it is, it'll all be under your umbrella, and it will be communicating the thoughts and the feelings that you want people to think and feel about your company. And really, this being consistent with these decisions, this is really the most important part. You have to be consistent. People see you 5 to 12 times. They recognize your unique combination of colors, fonts, shapes, and styles. They have feelings about that. They associate those great feelings to your business, and then they convert from a stranger into a customer. So we're going to have lots of time for questions left. I don't know if I just talked fast, or maybe you guys are a quiet group. I do have some questions that were pre-submitted. I don't know how you want to keep going. Nick, do you want me to answer the questions that were pre-submitted?
Yeah, so
yeah.
Let's just encourage anyone on the call to ask any questions, but it may be best just to go over some of the questions we already received, and you can kind of provide some context, and then that may lead to further questions. And if you're done before 11, that's fine. You know, whatever people need, we can definitely answer all the questions. So let's just start that way, then hopefully some discussion will come.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just keep an eye on the Q&A in the chat there. Okay, so some of the pre-submitted questions, a lot of these were great. Thank you for submitting them in advance. How to take first steps in branding. We definitely went over that. You have to define what your brand is, what it looks like, font, color, shape, style. Which branding items are really necessary and which can be avoided to keep startup costs low. So, you know, making those decisions and sticking to them, making them isn't really that expensive, but whether or not it will be good, you know, I would say you should hire someone to help you to keep startup costs. So like, again, you're going to have a large startup cost to get your brand and your website on the go. But really, once that's done, you can do a lot of things yourself to keep your costs low. You know, start learning things like Canva so that you can do social media and stuff yourself. How's the best way to reach potential customers? We talked about that circle, know, like, trust, buy, refer. Free software, professional results, Canva, 100%. So how does one with little to no marketing and branding experience get started? So you're here, you've started. Amazing. You know, take online classes, look at your competition. What do they look like? What kind of, how do you feel when you look at their stuff? What are cost-effective branding strategies for small business entrepreneurs? So using low-cost, no-cost tools like Canva. I would also recommend that you invest in a one-on-one consult. So, you know, there are a lot of folks like me who are, I call myself the founder in force, which means I'm a solo entrepreneur. I don't have 10 people or 50 people at an agency behind me. And I don't cost $10,000 either. So, you know, we can have a one-on-one conversation where you can get really, really specific about your business and your needs, using a freelancer or solo entrepreneur versus thinking that you have to go to an agency, because you don't. Why is branding so important? We talked about this circle, about this is what you look like, and you want to control that. Let's see. Okay, so what are 3 key points that every business should be doing if time didn't allow for more? So the first point is to define your brand. Color, font, shape, style. Define it. The second is to be consistent with that over time. And the third, I would say, you know, evaluate over time. So, you know, make those decisions, be consistent, and then ask people how they feel about your business. So, for example, if, you know, if you are a campground, let's say you own a campground and you want things to be super fun and family oriented and, you know, easygoing, easy breezy, and then you use serif fonts, which are really formal, and you use like maybe super dark blues, you know, things look really moody. Those 2 things don't align. So, you know, if you're family oriented and want to be fun, you know, you might want to use some lighter, brighter colors. You might want to use some handwriting fonts. You might want to, you know, align yourself that way. So ask people after a period of time while you're developing this, like, what do you feel when you see this? On canva.com, there are a few cool articles that explain color choices and emotions. They're really easy to find if you just Google for that. What else? Anybody have any other questions? I feel like I've breezed right through this.
No, that's fine. I mean, this is all such really strong information. I'd encourage anyone on the call that maybe has a question pop up after the fact. Please share it, send us an email later on, and we'll make sure that we get those questions answered. Amy just shared that, so thank you so much.
Yep,
I think I don't see any more questions, so we're just gonna keep.
You guys are like a super quiet group.
Hey,
yeah.
that you know that. Oh, one sec. A question popped in. Is there a code to what colors a brand should use for conveying different emotions, feelings? That's from Caleb Grant. Good question.
Yep. Yeah. Have a look at that link. So we can briefly go into this. You know, there are. Let's read more about blue-green. So, you know, this is where blue-green sits. These are some color combinations you could have with it. You know, it's found in nature. There's another. No, it's not that one. I'm like, there's another article that's also very helpful. Here we go. Or we can talk about that. Okay. So let's talk, you know, this is red. Red is intense emotions. It's impactful. versus pink is femininity. Pale pink is more of like little girls. Dusty pink is romantic. Hot pink is youthful. Orange is the color of communication. There's different shades of it. It can be associated with fun. It's energy. Right. So this says best avoided for luxury, traditional, serious brands. So if you have a 5-star bed and breakfast, orange is not for you. Really purple might be for you. Let's go look at that. There's no hard and fast rules, but it's a place to start. Purple associated with royalty, nobility, Cadbury, is part of that. Even some nostalgia. So it's also for luxury. It talks about brown. It talks about every color on the color wheel. So there's no hard and fast answer, but there's kind of pockets that you should be in. Really, the whole thing about all of this stuff is people make a snap decision. First impression when they see you, is that appropriate? If you have a B&B in the woods and there's some green in there, yep, okay, it's appropriate. If you have a B&B in the woods and hot pink is there, people kind of wonder, what's going on there? I don't get it. It's easier than you think.
Yeah, I mean, that article looks really, really interesting. So if there's not any other questions, if something pops into your head later today, just share it with us and we'll share it over to Amy. Amy, is there anything else, or are we good to move on?
I just was thinking, so there's also some font psychology that might be helpful when you are trying to make these decisions as well. There's serif and sans serif, but really, so this is serif font, has his little feet like this. This is for a bank. Sans serif is Google. Script is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola and a bank, two very different things, have two very different fonts. If you want to be happy, handwriting font makes a lot of sense. Again, like for your campground, this could be great, could work for you. But like the bank, the bank font isn't really appropriate for a fun campground. So yeah.
Well, that's perfect. All right, well, we're going to move on. So no question seems to pop up. So thank you so much, Amy. I'm just going to share my screen again, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
And just give me one sec. All right. Share screen. So I'm going to put my video back on. Amy's going to cut hers. So I hope you guys enjoyed that webinar today. I thought that was really valuable. Such strong information about why a brand's important and the value in making sure you do it right. So our next upcoming webinars we will have one on Thursday, February 10th at 10 a.m. And it's the Website Analytics Dashboard, a templated approach to using website data to understand how your customers interact with your business online. It's a mouthful. So, and the next one will be Thursday, February 24th, always at 10 a.m. Try to always have them on Thursdays. And data storytelling, keeping the audience engaged when presenting analytics, which is very, very important. And we would encourage you to subscribe to the In Touch newsletter to receive notices about our webinars, programming, anything relevant. If you signed in today and watched this webinar and it's your first time, and you thought, this is awesome, I want to check the other ones out, we have all our previous ones uploaded to our website, tourismns.ca/webinar series. They're also on Digiport as well. And encourage you, if you have any questions, suggestions on webinar topics, we are more than welcome and encouraging for you to share them with us. Send us an email at tnsbusiness@novascotia.ca. Our corporate website is tourismns.ca. Our consumer website, where we direct all of the potential visitors, is to novascotia.com. Our In Touch newsletter, where we share our information, is tourismns.ca/intouch. We're on Twitter as TourismNS, and our corporate LinkedIn is Tourism Nova Scotia. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.